Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're exploring the absolutely vital human-centric systems that operate right behind the scenes of every single successful construction project. When we look up at a massive skyscraper or drive across a sprawling bridge, we almost always marvel at the engineering, the tons of materials, and the heavy machinery. But today, we're going back to basics. We are focusing on the human engine that actually drives those projects, and specifically, the health and welfare measures designed to keep that engine running safely.
So think about this for a second. What is the most critical blueprint on a construction site? You might instantly picture the architectural plans or maybe the structural schematics, right? But there's actually a parallel, totally invisible blueprint that is equally, if not more important. It's the blueprint of worker safety, health, and basic human dignity. Because without this framework, even the most brilliantly designed building literally cannot be safely brought into reality.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We'll be moving from immediate biological needs all the way up to higher-level systemic management. We're going to cover 1. The foundation of worker welfare. 2. Fulfilling basic human needs. 3. Battling heat and fatigue. 4. The health surveillance shield. 5. Roles in site management. And finally, 6. Overcoming implementation challenges.
All right, Section 1, the foundation of worker welfare. To really understand why this matters, we have to recognize just how harsh and unforgiving a construction site actually is. It's an environment of extreme elements, heavy machinery, and just constant physical demand. And it's largely powered by a vulnerable, often migrant workforce. Well, this brings us to a huge milestone year for protecting them, especially in the context of Indian labor law, 1996. This was the year the Building and Other Construction Workers Act was established. Working right alongside the National Building Code of India, it legally mandates that employers must provide minimal welfare standards on construction sites. It basically shifted worker welfare from a nice-to-have perk to a strict legal obligation. And the core philosophy here is simple but profound. Workers are not only protected from accidents, but are also supported in terms of basic human needs, hygiene, and long-term health. That really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Safety isn't just about handing out hard hats to stop a falling brick. It's about guaranteeing basic human dignity. It's about sustaining the workforce for safe, productive operations over the long haul.
Moving right along to Section 2, fulfilling basic human needs. Let's look at the frontline defense against these extreme environments.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that managing something as simple as drinking water requires some serious logistics. It isn't just about having enough water, it's about spatial separation. Keeping drinking points completely separated from toilets or waste areas prevents massive site-wide risks like waterborne diseases, which, by the way, can sideline an entire workforce in just a matter of hours. And to put that into perspective, did you know dehydration can drop a worker's cognitive performance by 20% in just a couple of hours under the hot sun? That makes safe, clean hydration access absolutely critical. Building on that, we look at sanitation and washing facilities. And let me be clear, the minimum expectations here are strictly non-negotiable. We're talking about separate toilets for men and women, proper ventilation, and dedicated hand-washing stations with soap and actual drainage. These provisions are absolutely vital for preventing the rapid spread of infections, reducing contamination before workers eat, and fundamentally maintaining worker morale and dignity. Poor facilities lead directly to environmental contamination and plummeting morale for sure. Beyond water and bathrooms, the workforce needs places to recover and refuel. Rest shelters must be shaded, well-ventilated recovery zones that protect workers from the sun, rain, and dust. Similarly, if the workforce is large enough, providing pest-controlled canteens with hygienic food preparation areas is a hard requirement. These aren't luxuries, guys. They directly reduce physical stress, prevent food contamination, ensure proper nutrition, and ultimately boost concentration and productivity on the site. All right, Section 3, battling heat and fatigue. Let's talk about the silent killers on an open site. On an open, sun-exposed site, heat and fatigue require constant vigilance. Heat stress isn't just feeling a bit warm. It is a terrifying biological cascade caused by high temperatures, direct sunlight, heavy physical labor, and poor hydration. It starts with heat cramps, then advances to severe heat exhaustion, marked by dizziness, excessive sweating, weakness, and confusion. And if it isn't stopped, it can culminate in a heat stroke, accompanied by a dangerously high body temperature, which is immediately life-threatening.
To fight this, site management employs a systematic hierarchy of controls. Step 1 focuses on engineering controls, basically altering the physical environment itself with shaded areas and cooling systems. Step 2 relies on administrative controls, managing how the actual work is done through work-rest cycles, worker rotation, and scheduling the heaviest tasks for the cooler hours of the day. Finally, step 3 is personal controls, empowering the worker with frequent hydration breaks and suitable clothing to avoid overexertion.
Closely linked to heat is fatigue, usually caused by long working hours, repetitive tasks, and immense physical strain. Fatigue leads to reduced alertness and poor decision-making, which drastically increases the risk of accidents. The solutions require rigorous administrative oversight. We're talking proper shift planning, regular breaks, and especially job rotation. Rotating workers out of highly repetitive or strenuous tasks is a vital administrative tool to keep the workforce sharp and safe. Next up, Section 4, the Health Surveillance Shield. Transitioning from day-to-day survival on the site to proactive, long-term health protection, health surveillance monitors workers over an extended period. Look at this breakdown. We start with pre-employment checks to establish baseline fitness and catch pre-existing conditions. Then, periodic checks monitor workers over time to detect early symptoms of occupational diseases. Finally, special checks are deployed for high-risk work, like lung function tests for dust exposure, hearing tests for noisy environments, or skin evaluations for chemical handling. This is exactly how you catch issues before permanent damage occurs.
So the crucial point is, medical checks must be paired with rigorous, multi-layered hygiene practices to prevent illness in the very first place. We have personal hygiene, like washing hands and properly using personal protective equipment. Then, site hygiene, which means controlling stagnant water to stop mosquitoes, alongside proper waste disposal and pest control. Finally, food hygiene ensures safe storage and clean utensils. Together, these 3 tiers drastically reduce the spread of disease, cut down on absenteeism, and dramatically improve overall site conditions.
Let's look at Section 5, Roles in Site Management.
All these excellent facilities and protocols mean absolutely nothing without a strict chain of command to enforce them. We have a stark contrast in duties here, but a total joint responsibility. On one side, site management provides the foundational elements. They provide the money, allocate the resources, maintain the infrastructure, and force contractor compliance. On the other side, the safety officer acts as the eyes and ears on the ground, inspecting the facilities, identifying hazards, conducting awareness training, and ensuring equipment is available. Management provides the tools. The safety officer ensures they're used correctly.
Finally, Section 6, Overcoming Implementation Challenges.
Okay, it is time for a reality check. Because theory is perfect, but real-world execution on a chaotic, dusty construction site, it's incredibly difficult. We are dealing with massive hurdles every single day. We have a diverse migrant workforce that might be completely unfamiliar with the provided facilities. You have language barriers that can totally cripple standard awareness campaigns. You have instances of contractor neglect where welfare provisions are just ignored to cut costs. And overarching all of this is the temporary nature of a construction site. It's just really hard to build permanent feeling hygiene habits in an inherently temporary, ever-shifting environment. And this brilliantly illustrates how we methodically dismantle those exact barriers. You overcome language gaps with simple, highly visual communication, using pictures instead of long paragraphs. You overcome contractor neglect through regular inspections, strict supervision, and hard accountability. And you overcome the temporary nature of the site through continuous, relentless awareness programs. It has to be a constant, active effort to keep safety and welfare top of mind.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this single, powerful thought. We pour billions of dollars into building magnificent structures designed to last for centuries. But are we truly doing enough to protect the temporary, vulnerable workforce that spends their days actually building them? Next time you walk past a construction site, look past the concrete and the steel and think about the human infrastructure that makes it all possible. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning and stay curious.